what's that doing on there, everybody? A picture of Algebrotta there. I know, I got something better than that. Slugs! Every gardener's worst nightmare, the banana slug. We've not talked about banana slugs, a feature of the Good Morning Portugal show, and the very famous banana slug, as popularized by James Holly from Santa Cruz. And the incredible likeness of that lady who wrestles a Dr. Bayard's lozenge that looks a lot like a banana slug. Carl, what are you talking about? Completely the wrong context. This is Get Out and Grow, the Happy Homesteaders here on expatsportugal.com with the Fresh Air crew, Anna and John. How you doing, Anna?
Yeah, not too bad. Had a bit of fun and games with a bit of a throat playing up last couple of days. So I've been knocking back throat sweets and honey and lemon and even the good old saline treatment as well. So I've tried everything and it's still taking a bit of time. So I think I've had it since Thursday. So
ice cream. It's always an excuse for ice cream.
Yay! Yes, indeed. Yeah. Although the dairy can play havoc with the mucous membranes. But yes, nice way of cooling the throat, isn't it, with a bit of ice cream? Very good. Oh, yeah. And you, Senor Age?
Yeah, reasonable enough. It's cold over here in the UK at the moment, but January, so why is anyone surprised?
Every year. Every year.
Yeah, no, it's all right. I mean, I had a fairly quiet weekend, really. Yeah, that was pretty good.
Finding you in good fettle, then, I would say.
Not too bad.
Yep, and I think you have a message for us, John, there already.
I do indeed. In fact, there's this my normal message of the show, but also that I have a feature that I want to talk about, but that's a bit later on. But anyway, just now, if you forgot to let Anna know about your question or have only just thought of one, let us know here in the comments, obviously, because you can't come through the computer screen into our houses and let us know there. But yeah,
maybe one day. Mark Zuckerberg's working on it, John. Eric Huiza, bon dia to you, Eric. How are you doing? And Louise is here as well. Boa tarde todos. And Mark in Norfolk too. Boa tarde to you, Mark. And Moaz is here as well. Moaz, boa tarde to you. And Cindy B, look, Anna, hope you feel better. So some healing vibes from just down the road. And it was lovely to be sharing in Cindy B's birthday celebrations this afternoon, not long back from that. And the skip made it home. And not the skip, the one we're talking about, the pallet made it home safely on the roof, Cindy B. You may be glad to know. So I'll be repurposing that in true permacultural style. Well, we've got you on the screen there, Cindy B. Let's remind everybody, after that fabulous show we did with you last week, an introduction to permaculture with Cindy B, when we found out that Lee was really a closet permaculturalist as well. And I think it inspired quite a few people. If you were one of those people last week who thought, must get in touch with Cindy B, and you haven't already done that, do give her a shout. And Cindy B is here, of course, and may well put her details to get in touch about the Introduction to Permaculture course, which is going to be starting imminently. Do get in touch with Cindy about that. And yeah, perhaps, Cindy, if you could do that, that'd be awesome. Let us know the best contact details to contact you, and so that people can sign up for the course. And Janice Williams is here as well, Butard, with a beautiful rose as a YouTube icon there. Thank you, Janice. I think you're new to this, aren't you? So do let us know more about yourself. And if you have any questions, as John said, about getting out and growing, gardening Q&A style questions, do ask them. We are waiting for our colleague, the head gardener, Lee McGrady, who we think maybe, John, right, might be stuck in traffic after a hard day's work in the capital. So we'll stand by and he should join us soon. But we have got questions to pose and we'll see what we can do with us three here. And of course, you in the comments as well, because people in the comments are always very helpful when it comes to answering the questions. I need to pop off. Okay. I thought that's John talking to us again. And I'm thinking John needs to pop off. Doesn't usually go this quickly in the show. I think that's someone else, isn't it, John? Possibly Fiona. Or
yeah,
Jason.
That's certainly not me. I haven't made that comment. I'm not sure who it is, but it's certainly not me.
No popping off from John. Hi, all. I need to pop off, but we'll catch the rest of the show later tomorrow. I spent a fortune on more herb seeds today. I'm thinking that might be Jason. So thanks for tuning in, Jason. Good luck. Let us know And when you get a chance, when you are watching it back, love to see a catalogue of your seed expenditure. My favourite seeds to buy, certainly herbs. And Janice, who's wished us a boutade, says, yeah, just been following you and everything Portugal. So that's why you're here. And we're grateful to you for your company, Janice, this afternoon. And tell us more. So is that just got into gardening or you've just discovered us? Do let us know more. And it's Fiona, not Jason there. How's it going, Fiona? What else have you been doing? And that no dig thing went a bit quiet, didn't it? We kind of covered over our tracks, pardon the pun or the analogy there. Wonder what happened with the no dig thing. Maybe we go at it again this coming spring. So, John, a survey coming up. People can help, can they? In their gardens?
Yes, indeed. I'll just go and find the post I shared on the Facebook page now. But this is quite a good thing to talk about actually while we wait for Lee. Yeah, hang on a minute. Come on, Facebook.
Well, we are keen ornithologists here. Have you had much bird action in the back garden, Anna, recently? I know that elusive woodpecker you have visiting you.
I haven't seen the woodpecker recently. I've been away at the weekend, so I think it's been a little bit on the quieter side lately. But yeah, in fact, I did hear quite a few. I'm trying to think if it was actually starlings. I'm trying to think because when I was in Teignmouth, there was a lot of noise going on just outside the window, which just sort of overlooks a sort of little bit of a car park kind of area, and there were quite a lot of birds flying around, and I had a bit of a sea view as well. So of course the good old seagulls are nearby as well, but yeah, I think apart from that, I haven't seen much else for wildlife lately. But yeah, it was nice little trip out at the weekend, and had a bit of a stroll on the beach as well, which is good. And yeah, it was good. And got back yesterday, so I've pretty much had a full week so far.
Great stuff. Okay, and any ornithological action on the beach, because it's pretty good down there on the southwest coast, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I saw much there. I know there were certainly quite a few dogs out that day, but yeah, I didn't remember seeing any birds. I don't think.
The British and their birds. Sorry, their dogs, but and their birds as well, as we're about to find out with the RSPB from John. Lee, good afternoon to you. How are you? Cheers, sir.
Sorry, I'm late. Good excuse.
Good excuse. It sounds like you were going to go into that there.
No, I've stopped and changed the tyre for a lady on the road, so I'm running a bit late.
Bless you. Night of the road. There you go. Fantastic.
Yes, there you go.
Superb. While you're looking there, John, been thinking of moving there, but it looks hard to do. Well, you need to tune into the morning show, Janice, and we'll help you all I can. Or join us at expatsportugal.com. Everything you need to know, all the information and the community to help over there at expatsportugal.com. Janice, if we can help you, we will. Do let us know specifically what you need to know. A lot of frost about in the East Midlands at present, says Louise, tidying the garden borders, but ground too hard, cold for planting, moving or digging. So just getting ready to get going in the garden, but a little bit too cold, the conditions at the moment. And to Janice from Eric, same here. We want to move to Portugal from Mexico. I'm Dutch, so not an issue for me, but all those rules make it difficult. Yeah. Oh, and Lee, just in time to hear the response to the no dig debate question. My no dig was producing, in fact, is still producing right through winter. Think Lee gave up because he ripped everything out after the main tomato season and dug again. Wink. He didn't share what else he harvested from that plot I'm aware of. Is he ready for a rematch?
All starts again this week. Yeah.
Okay.
I just started planting some stuff this week, but I took it all out so I could redo the water system.
Okay.
That was my big problem has been since starting the veg garden. We were using a water system that was already in, and it just wasn't good. They hadn't set it up right to start with. So after my last tomato harvest, I ripped everything out, took everything out, and redid all the water system. So rather than using sprinklers, the traditional sprinkler, I've gone for 2 different types of sprinkler and then a drip feed system. So I'll save water and it won't have to water as much, and I can regulate the times it does it better. So it really needed doing. So I have to sacrifice the end of the season just there to do that.
Okay. If there's it's like the almost like the tennis, isn't it, where you could be no dig Djokovic versus Fiona would be no dig Djokovic, I think, versus the traditional gardener. If you want to buy a sprinkler system, anybody, we have one. Jimmy Chew has been chewing through the hose pipe, so I think we've got a really good sprinkler system for anybody who wants to take it off our hands. Jimmy Chew. Is it legal to grow homegrown cannabis in Portugal? Any tips? Asking for a friend, of course. Yeah, whatever. And it's not. But we'll come back to that because I think John might be ready now with his RSPB insight.
Yes, indeed I am. So, curse, what's going on here with... there it is. Funny how you lose the curse on the computer sometimes. It just goes all over the place. Anyway, so get ready for the Big Garden Bird Watch. It's fun, it's free, and for everyone. And this is the RSPB, so this is UK based. So any UK listeners out there, your listeners or watchers or however you do the show, it's on the 28th to the 30th of January. And it's about working out how many, what types of birds you have in your garden, and are there any common themes and all that kind of thing. So be wild by all. This is, I'm reading off the website here. So it says, be wild by your local wildlife. Big Garden Bird Watches for everyone, whether you're a complete beginner or a birding expert. Simply count the birds you see in your garden from your balcony or your local park for 1 hour between the 28th and the 30th of January 2022. So apparently 1 million people took part in it last year. Why not join in and be 1 in a million for 2022, it says. Now, one of the go into some of the reasons they're doing this as well. Apparently, we've lost 38 million birds from the UK skies in the last 50 years. So it's vital to look after the bird life. And obviously, this is one of the ways that we do it. Now,
John, how many was that? Sorry, repeat that, please, because that's
38 million birds in the last 50 years.
Good heavens!
Don't believe it. Don't believe it.
You don't believe it, Lee? Do you think that's fake news?
No, it's not fake news. It might be the right numbers, but it's taken out of context.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you want to say more?
Yeah. Well, they used to count migratory birds, and then they stopped counting the migratory birds.
I see.
Some short-stay birds were taken off the list, and also not the reintroduction, but the repopulation of the kite, the buzzard, and the peregrine falcon has had a massive impact on the small bird life. Urban foxes have had a massive impact on small bird life. The reintroduction or not the reintroduction, but rewilding schemes where they've taken pheasant off moorland and allowed the mink, the weasel, the stoat to repopulate the areas. They've had a massive impact on bird life. So what we're getting now is a true balance of bird life we should have, instead of an inflated one just after the DDT disaster, which destroyed most of our small birds. If you think back to when we were kids, Cal, the flocks of sparrows and starlings were amazing.
Yeah.
By the hundreds of thousands in every town and city.
Yeah.
They have gone. And it's not because we've changed the way that we manage the land. It's because of the increase in the predators and the way the starlings and sparrows no longer flock together through fear of peregrine falcons. So the peregrine falcon now, there are no longer any natural nesting sites left in the UK. They've all been taken up. And they've moved into the inner cities where they're nesting on churches and office buildings and feeding on the pigeons, which is a great thing. So we're at maximum capacity for the peregrine falcon, yet they're still on the endangered species list or the protected species list, which to me is a little bit backwards.
Okay, so ornithological politics then, and if you put your cynical hat on, if you're a charity that protects birds, it's actually quite good for business to make people feel very bad about things,
Yes.
such that they
Well,
put their hands
Yes.
If you look back to the 80s and late 90s, you would drive down the motorway and there would be a kestrel every 1 mile.
hovering, ready to swoop.
Hovering. They're no longer there. It's now a buzzard every 5 mile.
That's right.
Because the buzzards have taken out the kestrel and the kestrel nesting sites, and they're killing the chicks and they're killing the nest sites. So we've lost 10 birds for every pair of buzzards that you now have. So the figures are askew with a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, very interesting. Thank you.
Again, the RSPCA and the RSPB do some great work, but they're no longer a charity in the true sense of the word of a charity. They have managerial levels that get paid a lot of money, and their only interest is to get donations off companies and the general public. They're not going to tell you the truth. They're going to tell you what makes them money. They're no better than Big Pharma.
Okay, so
that's my man for the night.
There we go. So they are campaigning and lobbying organisations. That's amazing. Okay, and here's a good question: is this show about gardening? Well, in the broadest sense, it is. Yes, as Louise is saying here, in the broadest sense, birds, beasts, insects, weather, soil, water, all important for gardening. It's not a cookery show, though. Okay, before anyone starts asking questions about cooking. So we will go to those questions. And we'll just finish off, though, first about the bird business with John.
Yes, we will.
Again, John, you were interrupted there. Beg your pardon.
Sorry,
yes, but this is simply about how to take part. Taking part is easy as 1, 2, 3. Apparently, watch the birds for 1 hour. Count how many of each species of bird lands on your patch. Go online and tell us what you saw.
Easy as. Okay, excellent.
Then,
And well done to the bird watchers.
And then you can click on my link to find out more info, because there's a bit more to it, but obviously we only have a certain amount of time for the show, so we need to let the questions be answered and everything else as well. So I'll
just before we leave the subject, although I dislike the RSPB, it's still a great scheme to doing the bird watching and to get young kids involved. There's also a butterfly one that's done later on in the year. So getting involved with both of those two things. Although I disagree with the hierarchy, the actual idea of doing it to get young children involved, get people out into the gardens is a great way to do it.
Oh, very good. Okay, and John will put the link in the comments. Thank you for that, John. Okay, Anna, first question, please.
Have a look. We have three. I think we've had a couple more coming in as well. We've got one from Roger on. I didn't manage to send these in advance, I'm afraid, because I was a bit busy before this. But one on from Roger on tree and shrubbery nursery. Is there a nursery near Portimao within 25k or so that is reasonably priced for trees and shrubbery?
Right. I don't actually know if it's in 25k, but if he sends me a private message on Facebook, I will send him a link to a chap I know that has a private nursery that is really good and reasonably priced as well. I think it's in that area.
Great. So Algarve nursery. What a lovely job that must be to have a nursery in the Algarve. So there you go, Roger. Get in touch with Lee via private message. And I've got one to add. We'll come back to you, Anna, in just a moment. Blueberries. Are they blueberries? They look like bracken to me. Hold on a minute, though. I will ask the question. I have a question regarding blueberries. Is it normal for them to lose almost all of their leaves in the winter? Sorry to doubt you there, Eric. You must know if you sent a picture in. Is it normal for them to lose almost all of their leaves in the winter? Greetings from Eric in Mexico. Thanks for that, Eric. So should they lose their leaves?
Yes, yeah, almost all of them, if not all of them. And a little tip for blueberries is plant 2. At least a minimum of 2. Yeah, the more you can plant, the better diversity you'll get on the germination.
Yeah.
Of the flowers, of the berries themselves, and it actually tastes better because it just increases the longevity of the plants as well.
All right, so fear not, Eric, and some extra info about blueberries there. Thanks for that, Lee. Terrific. I've dispatched that one very, very swiftly. Anna, back to you.
Yeah, this one is from Neil. Which plants could be used to plant on I can't remember if I asked this last week or not. Which plants could be used to plant on a high, steep piece of land to prevent soil erosion with little maintenance?
Yeah, good one. I personally got, if here in Portugal or in England, it works the same way. I would go for the small shrubbery plants like the heathers, lavender types, anything that's going to grow small, grow quick and grow woody. Because they're easy to maintain. They don't need a lot of water. They're kind of self-sufficient. You just leave them to it. So, and you can get a great variation of colours as well. So go to your local nursery, you're looking for the heathers and the lavender sections. And there's a massive varieties you can get.
Okay, excellent stuff. All right, another one from you, Anna, while we're with you. Or did we lose Lee signal-wise there?
I think he's frozen. It's yeah.
He might have more to add.
Let it go, let it go.
Put this one out if you like, in case anyone else has got any answers. But we've got a question from Margarita. I want to grow several chili plants and would like to know when to start. I'm not. I think we've just lost Lee. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce the name, not being in Portugal. I can give you a quick spelling of it if you like. Albufeira.
Oh, Albufeira.
Yes.
They're also down in the Algarve.
Yes, lives near there, and should be growing them from seed.
Okay. I don't know if Lee would have heard any of that. Growing chilies from seed. From my very limited knowledge, I think they're not so hardy, and need to wait definitely for the weather to warm up a little bit. I suspect Louise will know something about growing chilies, and Fiona if she's still here. So we will await your counsel on that, Louise and Fiona, and other people, of course. Oh, Lee is back with us. Sorry, Lee, we lost you there. Your signal was cut, I think.
I'm still getting a black screen at this end, but I can hear you.
Okay, that's good. All right.
Yeah.
So chilies grown from seed. What was the actual question, Anna? Is it too early, or what's the right optimum timing for getting them growing?
Start them now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'm doing mine this week.
Okay.
I'm going to start my chilies and my early tomatoes now, or this weekend coming. They're going to stay under cover until I can guarantee no more frost, and then they'll go outside into the ground. So start them in containers now. Keep under cover, let them germinate, and put them out after the last guaranteed frost.
Fantastic. Does that match the question there, Anna?
Yeah, I think it does. Yes. Yeah.
All right. Superb. Okay. So there you go. Growing chilies. And was there more to the question, or another question from that person?
I think that was about it. I think I'm just checking back through. Did any of the questions need a recapping for Lee?
No. You were cut off half. Either you'd finished or you were halfway through. I wasn't quite sure if you were going to add something further to the question before that, Lee. Does that ring any bells?
Yeah, it was the heathers and the lavenders. And what we're saying was it's the woody base that gives them the structure that protects the embankment, and they get quite well rooted. That was all, really.
Right.
So crack on.
All right, very good. So mention of tomatoes, something that can occasionally be mistaken for the tomato plant. Is it legal to grow homegrown cannabis in Portugal? Any tips? Asking for a friend, of course, from Michael Heron. Not legal to grow, is it, strictly speaking?
No, it's not. It's not legal to grow, but the police kind of turn a blind eye to less than 6 plants. Very similar to what they do in the UK now. If you're going for your own purposes, you won't get a criminal record, but you will get all your stuff confiscated if you get caught. But if you want to grow hemp or marijuana on a bigger scale, the Portuguese government do actually have a licensing scheme for it, but it's very difficult. Yeah. So you're not going to be able to grow it for yourself through the licensing scheme, but the police won't actually prosecute you if they catch you. So you take your chances.
Yeah, and watch out for a podcast interview I recorded with Lusitana, who were a cooperative of hemp growers And this was probably 2 or 3 years ago. And there are some really big companies. You mentioned Big Pharma before. I know that some of the Big Pharma companies are growing hemp and cannabis on a huge industrial scale in Portugal, because it's a good environment to do that. And these folks at Lusitana were a cooperative who are going up against them, or alongside them anyway. So look up Lusitana. I think they've got a Facebook page or group. And I've also done an interview.
It's not the hemp, though the marijuana is not my cup of tea. It's not my drug of choice. But the hemp itself is one of the most underrated plants you can imagine. You could use it for everything. It would reduce our reliance on cotton, on timber. It would be a game changer if the governments would just allow people to grow it. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah.
And people have been banging their heads against brick walls about this, or hempcrete walls probably, for decades now, haven't they? Saying the same thing. But sadly, the bad press that was set up a long time ago seems to stand, and other lobbies seem to have stood in the way of us being in full receipt of all the wonders of hemp. Going back to no dig, we still have no dig potatoes in the ground. Certainly, if they're in the ground, there's some no dig. I know what you mean, though, Louise. But they haven't dug the no dig potatoes yet. Look forward to challenge year 2 for the no dig competition. No dig Djokovic. Off out for have a fun show. And back to Janice. Yes, it's moving all my belongings. That's the big challenge. Yeah, that is a problem. It's best to go minimalist, really, we think, when moving to Portugal. My husband is an EU citizen. Okay, I didn't know there was another show in the morning. It's more there, of course. So you're in the United States. You'd have to get up quite early or watch on the replay the Good Morning Portugal show, Janice, or just pop onto our forum and ask your questions there, expatsportugal.com. Let's have a look. With your UK hat on, Lee, do you know of any squirrel deterrents apart from catch and dispatch?
I suspect it's grey squirrels, and everybody should be catching and dispatching. They're another great reason why the small bird population is in decline in the UK. The grey squirrels are just out and out killers. But I've mentioned this a couple of times. I keep seeing it more and more online on the forums that I go on. There is now a hose pipe sprinkler system that can be triggered by movement. And so you can put it at the bottom of your bird feeder and aim your infrared signal down. So the birds don't set it off at bird height, but as the squirrels come along the ground towards it, it triggers a sprinkler and it soaks them wet through. And the latest one I've seen is actually solar panelled as well, so it's you don't need to connect it to the mains. You can run your hose pipe then under the 50 yards. Yeah, so have a look online. It's a infrared sprinkler system. I'm sure you'll find it.
All right, humane dispatch of squirrels there. And thank you for that, Lee, with your UK hat on there with squirrels. You get the red ones here. It's so nice to see the red squirrels in Portugal. Eating his big turnip tonight, the giant turnip in a nice vegetable stew. It's often the way, isn't it? Those big root vegetables, you don't get round to eating them very soon. And when they start to shrivel, you think, well, I better do something with that. There it is. He's cooking it tonight. Let us know how that goes, Garvo. Thank you very much for that fabulous picture. And controversy about the fruit there, the soft fruit. I thought they were blackberries. But Louise agrees with me. Those are blackberries, amoras, and not blueberries. Blueberries are thornless. So it did look a little bit to me like they were blackberries on there. But it may be that there was the wrong picture. Our blueberry plant has a few babies. Is there a certain way to promote more offspring in order to get more plants? FYI, our main plant from the picture is now almost 1 year old with only one baby. So that, whether it's a blueberry or a blackberry, can you dig them up and split them? And when?
You can divide the roots on pretty much all of them. If it's a blackberry, if it's the bramble plant, they're dead easy to be produced. They're dead easy to replicate. The blueberries are a little bit more technical. They normally shoot from their own root systems. They come out maybe 6 inches and they'll shoot up again. So you can divide that in section. But I would have thought it'd been a long time of year to be doing it. I'd wait for early spring wait for everything to start to get green and lush, and then divide them.
Okay.
But if it's a bramble you're talking about, they will lose all the leaves. And when they've lost all the leaves and they've gone a bit harder, that's the best time to attack them to try to get rid of them.
Okay, yeah, if they've overgrown. See,
yeah,
I've got to say, I might have said I meant bramble, and I think it is. Those are so. Eric, come on, are they blueberries or are they blackberry bramble bushes there that you're showing us? Excellent stuff. Okay, nice to have a little bit of controversy on the gardening Q&A. We do this every Monday evening, 6:15 we start, apart from the first Monday of the month. Get those questions in. Could grow madroniera. So the madronia, this tree strawberry, was that going back to the earlier question of bonding the bank a little bit? And do you like the tree strawberry, Lee?
I do like the tree strawberry. It gets a bit sickly after a bit, but they shed a lot of leaves. Yes, they're good enough. But yeah, they would survive on embankment because, again, they don't need a lot of care. They don't need a lot of water. I'd just be careful to letting it.
No.
Let us garden. Don't want to hold back my garden anymore.
Does John know he's not muted?
That was the point, to cover the fact you weren't, because you were frozen. So that was the joke.
I got it.
Oh, sorry, John. I thought I was just talking away. I can't. I've got no screen at this side. I'm on a black screen, so I can't see any of you lot.
Oh, you trooper. Okay, so to finish that point then, Lee, about madronias on a bank.
Oh, right, yeah, they're absolutely fine. I just make sure they don't get too big and get too heavy for the embankment. So you can keep them pruned quite easily, keep them tidy. Yeah, that's it.
All right, so another alternative for the embankment there. I think we have settled it. I think that's bramble we're talking about rather than blueberry, because blueberry would be more of a cane, wouldn't it? A thornless cane compared to
if you maintain your blueberry properly, it's like a small bush. It's like a small. Yeah, it's a small. It's not a cane as a big cane. It's you can maintain them really quite easily. They take a lot of cutting back. So
okay. All right, chili tip as well. For hotter chilies, limit the water once the flower has set and the chili fruit starts to grow. Oh, more controversy this evening.
I've heard it said both ways, as in feed it once the flower set or stop feeding it once the flower set. I would always, if you want the spicier chili, the stronger chili, start growing the stronger spicy fruit, because each chili will have a degree of each type will have its own degree of spiciness. So if you want something really spicy, grow a really spicy one, rather than trying to manipulate it with water and feed, because I don't think it really works.
All right, there you go. Fiona and Simon are here. Hello, wonderful people. We love the no-dig method to save your back. Now, what I'm seeing with this no-dig and dig business and this rivalry between the schools of gardening is there are people who love nothing more than being exhausted after a good day's gardening. And there are those other ones who want to save their backs and want to, do as little work as possible. I'm not saying they're lazy. I'm just saying they have a different Yoda-like way of working in the garden. What do you think, Lee?
I kind of agree with you. I spent all morning grafting. I mean, I worked really hard this morning until 1 o'clock. And then I went back to the drive and I smashed firewood for the afternoon. Yeah. And I've done 3 pallet loads this afternoon with an axe. And I loved every minute of it.
Yeah.
I just love it.
Yeah.
If I'm not sweating and breaking my back, it doesn't feel like it's work.
Yeah.
And then I think you get other people that are going to phone me up and ask me to have some plywood off me.
Yes.
It works both ways. Yeah.
I think type A and type B gardeners, there are those ones who really feel like they need a hot bath and cup of tea and just really feel their muscles twitching at the end of the day. And then the other ones who are a bit more Yoda-esque about it and like to go with those more sort of permacultural forest gardening principles.
I think you get it in all walks of life. I go hiking with a lad. I go hiking with one lad, and he's always 20 minutes behind me. Yeah. And I see a hill, and I want to push up the hill, and I want to go as hard as I can, as fast as I can. I stop and enjoy the view, but I want to get my head down and crack on with the miles. I need dawdles through life. And
yes.
It's in every walk of life.
It is, isn't it? There we go. Philosophy here. So it is a gardening show and a little bit of bird watching. Not much cooking, but definitely philosophy.
It goes back to what we talked about last week. You can graft hard and work hard, or you can sit and meditate over your strawberries. As long as you're outside, it's all good.
There you go. Blueberries, red and black currants grow as small bushes. Thank you for that, Louise. If you put a carrier bag inside your pots, you can lift those spuds straight out. Even easier. You can feel like you're coming back from the supermarket. Iris, October is here. If you've been looking all over for a decent garden centre to buy plants, you have been. Any idea around the Nazare area? Well, go to your Erosion or your co-op, Alcobaça. Go to Alcobaça, and the gardening co-op there has got some plants. And watch out as well, Iris. Lovely to hear from you and glad to hear you're settling in Nazare. But watch out for the little plant sellers at the end of every garden as well. Lots of people in Portugal sell their surplus right at the end of the garden on an honesty box system. And I'm sure you'll see that around where you live because there is a lot of growing. And that road from Nazare into Alcobaça, lot of growing on that old floodplain there. Really serious agricultural area of the Silver Coast. So good luck with that. Let us know how you get on. We love to dig, but sometimes no dig works just as well if you have good soil. All about no, says Lee. Go on.
No, I'm just joking. Do what you want. Enjoy yourself.
Do what you want. See if I care, says the head gardener. Have you tried your local market? Yes. Iris, go to the markets as well because they'll be selling plants at the markets, of course, soon as well. Great shout. And again, Alcobaça market in the centre of town, I'm sure will have plants too. Fantastic. Great call there.
Just a little warning again. This morning, over in Lagoa area near Lisbon, we had a good ground frost. So don't be buying any of your summer perennials, don't be buying any of your summer geraniums, anything like that yet. Just hold back a bit. They're on sale now, but they're not ready to buy. They're not ready to go in yet. So,
all right, well said. Yeah. John, you were going to.
I was just going to say, going back to this whole dig versus non-dig, one thing that's actually possibly more interesting with the dig system is that if you're also into your history, which I am, then you might actually find obviously interesting historical artifacts under your garden or your flower beds.
True story. Yeah.
I've found loads of stuff while I've been digging. Yeah, it's quite good. It's quite interesting. Some of the stuff you come across.
Gotta be. Yeah. That was the original dump, wasn't it? For most people, chuck it down the bottom of the garden. So there will be a lot of historical artifacts around and about us. Incredible stuff all over that we can't see beneath the surface. Eric, do electric tools with a battery, such as a strimmer and chainsaws, have problems with Portuguese heat in the summer? Oh, good question. Over here in Mexico, almost nobody uses battery tools because of this. So any problems with overheating electric tools, Lee, in Portugal?
Not unless you're an actual professional. And the new stuff's coming out is getting better and better all the time. I've still not adopted an electric machine, but I know a couple of local gardeners that have just started to get rid of their old petrol stuff, thinking electric stuff, and they love it. But working as a professional, when you're working 8 hours a day, you're changing that battery out all the time.
Yeah,
you're always going to struggle with the heat, and you do with a normal strimmer. You know, you've got to be careful running the machine for 8 hours anyway.
Yes.
But as a domestic garden, you will never have any problem with the electric stuff overheating. Not in Portugal. Not even when it gets to 28, 29, you want to stop working, sit down, have a beer or a glass of wine anyway. So you're not going to get to the heights. So as long as you're careful with it, you'll be fine.
Nothing to worry about here, Eric. Anna, anything else from you this evening?
I've just seen 2 questions coming in. We've got Fiona and Simon. They've just sent in a. Do you know a good feed for fruit trees?
I do. I can't remember the name of it. I'll I've got a tub in the shed back at work. I'll put a picture on the group tomorrow. But all I've been using recently is manure. This year, the only feed I've used in my own garden is horse manure. And I'm sticking with that for the rest of the year. I'm going to try not to use any actual chemical in the garden.
Get on, all right.
For feeding. I'll still use my herbicides. And pesticides, but as a feed, I'm going to try to be a bit more organic this year. So I'll have a look at the horse manure, sinking it in water and then using that water for your feed. That's obviously a great way to do it. But I'll put a picture of my stuff that I used last year online. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for that, Lee. And a supplementary to the electric tools conversation. Can you use electric tools during the fire season? That's a good question, isn't it? Because obviously it's a problem in Portugal. Can you go ahead and do that?
Yes. Well, you can use the petrol stuff in the fire season here. I mean, the Portuguese don't seem to care about it. I know they do in the States quite a bit. In a few countries, few states in America, they have restrictions on petrol use in the height of the fire season. Portuguese don't care. But that will become it will become a thing as the electric equipment gets cheaper, more affordable. That'll be one of the excuses you use to push out the petrol stuff.
Okay, yeah, another agenda.
Yeah,
you're hot on the agenda tonight, and I'm sure you're right.
Well, they don't like you to. They don't when you're strimming. They don't like you to use a disc on your strimmer in the fire season. That's illegal in Portugal because of the sparks it can create.
Yeah.
I've never started a fire with one. And I've used one for years.
God knows he's tried.
I have.
Fruit.
Actually, I have.
I'm not surprised to hear that. Fruit trees prefer an organic high nitrogen fertilizer, such as composted chicken manure. So go to a local chicken keeper, or start. Get your own chickens, and because their manure is gold to put around the garden. Once they've trodden about on the sawdust and mixed up their own manure in that, great stuff for the garden.
There's a great video on YouTube about a chicken compost system where they let the chickens onto a bed of soil where they semi-bury the vegetables. Yeah. So the chickens go, they eat bits of the veg, they do the poop, they eat bits of the veg, do the poop, and it holds them in the area for a long time. And that looks fantastic. It looks like a great soil surface.
Circle of life stuff. Okay. And thanks, Carl. It's the Co-op, a garden centre in Alcobaça. It's one of these co-ops, and this is quite a common thing in Portugal, that a cooperative type business. I think it's a legacy from the 70s and 80s, really. I've only been able to find some small plants at Lidl so far. I'm looking for some big plants, says Iris. Well, there it is for you. I found the Facebook page of Co-op Alcobaça. And they've got plants. I mean, it's a gardening co-op, so they've got everything for homesteading living. Beekeeping, tools, ladders, everything you would want to run a small farm, basically. And of course, I
would recommend joining the co-op as well. Going in and becoming a member. Yeah, you get your discount. And you get messages on your phone if you want to, where they got new stuff coming in. And if you remember, they'll actually go out of the way to get you stuff that you want as well. They'll bring it from other co-ops into what you want. Yeah. Joining my local co-op was the best thing I ever did. These people are genuinely interested in gardening, aren't they? That's why they're in the business.
And they're working on a different business model.
Yeah, there's a couple of guys at ours. One of them's a big-time beekeeper, chicken keeper, and the other chap's a winemaker. And what they don't know isn't worth knowing.
Fantastic.
And the thing is, they know everyone in the area as well. So if you want a big olive tree, if they don't have it, they'll know somebody that does. Another member of the co-op. And it keeps it all in-house. It makes it a little bit cash. It makes it a little bit tax-free and cheaper. Well worth joining and get to know those people in the shop.
There you go. Perfect. Thanks. We'll check it out, Iris. All the best. Great to see you here tonight, Iris, and everybody else tonight, because that just about does it. Apart from one thing Gary's carrying over. He's getting a bit excited eating his turnip there. This week's Man Cave topic, how to tackle an overgrown bush to get your muscles twitching. Lol. Enjoy your big... Enjoy your big turnip, Garvo. We're out of here, and we'll see you next week at 6:15 for Getting Out and Growing with the Fresh Air crew and the Happy Homesteaders. Take care. Bye for now. Ciao, ciao.